What up, you fluffy bastards? My name is Liquid Blitz, and today we're going to take a look at the second class in my Superclass series. And this one is aptly named Hellfire, because there is a hell of a lot of fire! This video is going to have the same layout as the first Superclass video. First, I'm going to look at the class setup, but that's going to be really quick. And then I'll switch the background to just a gameplay for more interesting viewing. And I'll cover some of the strengths of this, all the strengths of this class. And then finally, I'll look at some general tips that I've got for you for playing this class effectively. Right, first things first, here's the sexy Hellfire getup. Now, I've got to say, right, I've just noticed something. Have you seen the mask that guy's wearing? How are you supposed to see through that? That's ridiculous. Tiny little slits for your... Right, anyway. I'm going off on a tangent already. Right, anyway, let's get through this quickly. I'm not going to just discuss why I've chosen all these. I'll talk about that more in the strengths and tips later on. Let's just go straight through it. The primary weapon, the star centerpiece for this, is the MG-15 suppressive, the one with a 200 round mag size. It's the suppressive and it's impressive. Anyway. Sidearm, the Modelo 1915, 1915. I'm guessing it was made in 1915. And I'll quickly just point out, the reason I've chosen that one, as I've said before, I always choose my pistol based on fire rate and sort of control and hip fire levels. And this has the best hip fire out of all the pistols. You see, all of the other ones are sort of red. They're lower. It's the best hip fire, and that's why I've chosen it. And it's got a decent ammunition size, and it's got the fastest rate of fire joint with the Calibri. So that's why I've chosen that. Anyway, moving on. Next, we have the standard for support classes. Everyone should use this as a support class. Ammo pouch for infinite ammo and grenades. And then fourthly, we have the... I haven't used this much, but when I have used it, I found it really fun. The frag crossbow launcher, not the HE, the frag one, which is better against infantry. This class is not, unlike my first Superclass video, the Deathwing class, this class is only for infantry. This has nothing to do with vehicles. So the frag crossbow launcher. And then smoke grenade. Now in my first Superclass called Deathwing, I said you could have either gas or smoke because they both worked with that class. With this class, only smoke works. And again, I'll talk about why in the strengths and tips later on. And then finally, the hatchet. Now, as I said, again, in my first Superclass, I always choose the hatchet as my melee weapon. And if you want to know why, go watch my Melee Weapons Explained, Melee Weapons and Takedowns Explained video, and you'll find out why I use the hatchet. Anyway, that's the class. So let's now take a look at some of the strengths. In fact, all of the strengths for using this class. Now, the first strength in this long list of strengths, I pretty much just told you, and it's the pistol, and I'll get that out of the way so I can focus on the main weapon afterwards. The Modelo pistol has the fastest fire rate joined with the Calibri, but I haven't even unlocked the Calibri. It has the fastest fire rate, and it has the most accurate hip fire of all the pistols, at least for the support class. Obviously, you can't compare it with the other ones, but most accurate hip fire in the support class, which makes it sort of excellent for just whipping out and hip firing someone at really close range, which complements the MG-15 suppressive really well, and I'll talk about that a little bit more right at the end in the tips section. The second strength that I want to get out of the way before I start talking about the main weapon is that obviously with the ammo pack you have infinite ammo and grenades. To this day, people have commented some people don't know that the support class with the ammo pack gives you infinite grenades, because once you throw an ammo pack down, it doesn't give you your grenades back instantly. In my experience, and I don't know if this is properly true, but in my experience, I have to throw both 2 ammo packs down and then wait a few seconds, and then your grenades will pop back. That's sort of how that works. It's a bit odd, but you've got to throw both your ammo packs down and stand there for a few seconds, and then voila, you get your grenades back again. Not everyone knows that. I'll talk more about the grenades later. Anyway, let's move on to the star centerpiece, the massive 200 round MG-15 suppressive. Now that is impressive, as I said before. It does have a couple of downsides. But I'll discuss that later on in the tips section, because this is all about the strengths. The fact that it's got 200 rounds means you can shred loads, I won't swear, you can shred loads and loads of enemies without reloading, that is possibly the biggest strength of this class. If you've got your bipod down, and I'll discuss the bipod later as well, my god, you can kill 5, 6 enemies if they're all dumb enough to be out in the open. It's amazing. And because it's so amazing and has such a large magazine size, in my opinion, it is the best suppression weapon in the game. And I'm talking about sort of when you're using it specifically to suppress people, not only just to kill, but to suppress them as well, in case your teammates are also shooting at them, etc., etc. And now the next couple of strengths, really, are the crux of why this class is epic. It's when you put the bipod down, it has a seriously accurate automatic fire, fully automatic. It obviously still has a little bit of recoil, but it's only a little bit, meaning it's almost completely controllable. Just drag your mouse down or your controller joystick down a little bit to counter the recoil, and you've pretty much got like a bang-on accurate fully automatic fire. 200 rounds of automatic super accurate fire. So good Jesus. I mean, that's why you can kill 5 to 6 enemies or more. I mean, it depends how many enemies are in a specific given place and how many snipers are looking at you. But that's why you can kill so many. It's because not only does it have 200 rounds, but it's 200 accurate rounds if you've got the bipod out. I mean, seriously, it's so awesome. This is one of the most fun classes you can play. And hand in hand with that, I suppose the next strength, it's the same. It's pretty much the same, but I'll class it as a separate strength. Using the bipod makes it accurate over hundreds of meters. A lot of people think the machine guns are just medium range or close range or whatever. But no, if you've got the bipod out, the MG15 suppressive is accurate over hundreds of meters. I've killed people genuinely like 300 or 400 meters away, retardedly long distances. I mean, don't get me wrong, over really long distances like 300 or 400 meters, you will have to burst fire. I mean, as I say, it's super accurate, but not 400 meters accurate. You'll need to burst fire still with the bipod to get kills at that range. Now, the next strength is more of sort of a fun factor strength. My second piece of equipment, as you saw earlier, was the frag crossbow. God, I've already forgotten which one. It's the frag version. The frag version of the frag crossbow. And it's excellent for sort of room clearing and close-ish range, like infantry fights. Like if you know an enemy's around a corner, the frag crossbow is actually great to just pop a grenade in and hide like a little pussy around the corner until they die. As I say, there are better ways to kill infantry, but it's actually a really fun one, and that's what the game's about overall. After all, it's all about fun. So yeah. Now, the next couple of the next strength is to do the smoke grenades. Now, I probably should have put this in the tips section, but I've listed it as a strength on my little list of strengths that I'm reading from. And the smoke grenades have two functions in my mind. The first function is something that most, in fact, probably all people will overlook. I use smoke grenades personally as cover, especially if I've got the bipod down and I'm looking down sights towards a place filled with enemies. If you throw your 2 smoke grenades to the sides of you, it completely covers you from like sniper fire, and something most people don't notice. If you're in or on the edge or on the other side of smoke to an enemy, they can't spot you. A lot of people don't know that, and that is an epic strength. You can't be spotted if you're like on the edges of smoke. So if you throw, on this specific class, your smoke grenade down to your sides, cover your sides, you're completely covered from sniper fire, and snipers are the bane of this class. As awesome as this class is and as fun as it is, obviously it's got downsides, and snipers are the downside to this class. So cover yourself with smoke, and and it gives you much more cover. Alright, the second strength to do with smoke enemies is if you're sort of in the more sort of close to medium range, like you're a bit closer than you would want to be with this class, the smoke grenade has a second function, and that is you can quite simply throw a smoke grenade in a building or whatever, and the enemies can't see, and that may well flush the enemies out. So if you smoke a building, I suppose gas grenades would work well in that regard as well. But what I'm thinking is, if you throw a smoke grenade in, it might encourage an enemy to run out of there so they can see, and then they'll just run straight into your sights. So use smoke grenades to flush enemies out of places and into your sights. Anyway, those were some of the super strong strengths of that class. Anyway, let's move on to some general tips for playing this class effectively, because as with any class, if you're using it wrong, you're still just going to die over and over. So let's look at how to play it properly. The first tip cannot be overstated enough. Use the bipod as much as possible. That's the whole strength of this class. If you've seen my my latest Battlefield video was the bipod and how it affects the accuracy. And if you don't use your bipod with this, it's so inaccurate, it's almost laughable. The whole point of this class is to use a bipod wherever you can, maximizing the strength of this class. Now, the second tip, it also can't be overstated enough, and this is where, I mean, this is straight up the reason for most deaths you'll get. You need to displace often, i.e., once you've set your bipod up, you've got your gun aiming at someone, you get a couple of kills, move. Move your ass, hustle your ass now, bitch. Don't stay in one spot for too long, because that's... Once you've got a couple of kills, now the entire enemy team knows where you're shooting from, because the machine guns are loud. They're loud, they shoot loads of bullets, everyone can see where you're firing from. So get a couple of kills and displace, and move to a new spot. Even if it's close by, just move to a new spot. And if you have been spotted, if you think you've been spotted, and it's quite obvious when you've been spotted, because everyone will start fucking shooting at you, just move, but stay under cover for a few seconds. And then go back out and find a new place for your bipod. Now, the third tip I've got for you is a direct result of my last video, in the bipod video, where I did a few tests between the accuracy of firing with your bipod up whilst standing, like standing at a ledge, or prone. Because I didn't know if there was a difference in accuracy between standing with a bipod and prone with a bipod. Now, this tip is basically, the bipod is just as accurate, it's the same accuracy if you're standing with your bipod erected, versus prone with it erected. So you want to, and this goes straight into the fourth tip. It's best to use the bipod, and this class in general, when you're standing, rather than prone, because of the reason that if you're standing with a bipod erected at like a ledge or wherever, as long as you're stood at something with like a hip high thing, you can put your bipod on it. If you're standing and someone starts shooting you from the side or whatever, if you're standing, I've said that too much now, but if you're standing, then you can literally get up and turn around really fast. But if you're prone, you have to stand up, and that animation takes like a second or two. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but if someone's firing at you, that makes all the difference in the world. So my advice is you stand as much as humanly possible while using the bipod. And as I said, you want to put the bipod on things that are sort of hip height, or a little bit piece of advice for erecting the bipod up is like stand behind boxes or stand behind rocks and just put the weapon over the rock or the box or whatever. In fact, if you want to know more about bipods, go watch my previous bipod video. It's literally full of information about all sorts of information about, in fact, every piece of information about the bipod. It's a great video, so go and watch that. Anyway, I'm talking too much about the bipod. Right, I've launched the game to help me illustrate my next tip. For some reason, my frame rate has dropped down to shit, so I'm sorry if this looks a bit jerky. It normally doesn't, but my frame rate is down to 30, which is awful. Anyway, but the next tip, right? There's a weakness this gun has that other guns don't, and it's annoying, but it's easily overcome. Right, I've put my bipod out just so I can help illustrate this. If you full auto fire, in fact, I'm going to drop some ammo behind me so I can reload because I'm going to need to. If you full auto fire, after 4 seconds it overheats. Like you'll see right now. I'll do it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. That's not reloading. That's overheating. 1, 2, 3, 4, ish. You know what I mean? And the reason it does that is because, well, it's getting hot. Anyway, the whole, I'm going to reload it. Now, it's not that big a deal, but if you're with this gun specifically, you're aiming down sights with your bipod up like this, it takes you out of your sight. I'll do it one more time so you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it lowers the sight. You don't want that if you're looking down sight, because your enemies could be running all over the place. You lose track of where they are. To get past this very simple weakness, just literally count 3, not 4. 1, 2, 3, stop firing. 1, 2, 3, stop firing. 1, 2, 3, stop firing. It's such a simple thing, but doing that, it helps your accuracy because obviously it lowers the recoil after you stop firing. Your recoil and spread goes back to nothing, so it makes it more accurate as well, and you don't have to come out of your sight. That is such a simple thing, but it's such a good tip. My next tip is very simple. And that's just to simply keep firing if your enemy runs behind. If you see an enemy, start shooting at them, they run behind a tree or like below the horizon or whatever, keep firing, because first of all, a lot of enemies will hide behind cover and then come back out to aim and shoot at you. So there's a good chance if you keep firing, you'll hit them once they pop back out. And then secondly, even if they don't, the suppression effect of this weapon is epic. So, and that's the way suppression works. If they go behind cover, they're still getting the suppression. You know the suppression effect where your aim goes all over the place and your screen turns dark? That effect is still happening even if they're behind cover, because the bullets whizzing past them cause the effect. So keep firing even if they go behind cover. Now, the next tip is more of another weakness. I mean, every class has some weaknesses, but this weakness is inherent in a lot of classes. Fog, motherfucker, right? Fog is the bane of this class because this class relies on medium range, medium to sometimes long range, and fog, as with sniper classes, balls this right up. So my only tip for if there's fog, you can still use this class, but you need to rely on your teammates and yourself spotting enemies. And my tip is literally to fire just below any sort of red. You know when you spot someone, there's a little red or orange triangle. Just literally shoot at the fucking triangle. I mean, it's simple, but you can't do much in fog. It's a ball buster. My last tip is going right back to the pistol. If someone runs around the corner, this is actually quite a shit class. I mean, if they're very close, the hip fire, as with all weapons, I mean, it's a fully automatic weapon, so the hip fire isn't that bad at very close range. But you may want to switch to your pistol and utilize the strength of the pistol, the fact that the Modelo has the most accurate hip fire and fastest fire rate actually makes it really good at hip fire at close range. And even if you aim it, it's got a fast fire rate and a 9-round mag size. So switch to your pistol is my recommendation at close range. And that's all I've got for you. I've rambled a lot in this video. Jesus, I usually try and cut my rambling to a minimum, but I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being like 15 minutes long. I'm shit. Anyway. Keep it as short as possible. Like this video if you liked it, like this video if you didn't like it, and join me in my next Superclass video. I know, again, I think of these sort of on the spot. I know what my next Superclass is going to be, and a lot of people are going to hate this, but it's going to include a shotgun. I rarely ever use shotguns, but there's one, and it's not what you think it is. It's not an A10 Hunter, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't use shotguns. It's not an A10 Hunter. It's not even the other shotgun. It's actually a weaker shotgun. It's one of the fully automatic weaker shotguns. But anyway, join me then. Peace. Oh, what's he doing? He's doing something. Fucking hell! Oh, she's back to the zombie mode. Look at her eyes. Fucking hell, she's like the Hulk. Look how strong she just busted down the... Oh, axe. Grab the axe. Fucking hell.